Hey everyone, Tony with Sunset Overland Adventures here. Today is December the 26th, the day after Christmas. It's 9 a.m. and it's already 61 degrees. The high for today is supposed to be in the 80s, and the same thing for tomorrow and the next day, so I could not resist getting out for one more adventure before the end of the year. And I'm taking you with me. So I'm heading out to western Oklahoma to check out a WMA wildlife management area called Sandy Sanders. I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I'm excited about checking it out. In Oklahoma, we do not have BLM land, so the closest thing we have is our WMAs. They're scattered all across Oklahoma, and most of them are used for hunting and fishing. They can also be used for camping, a lot of hiking, and overland stops. So the difference between the WMAs and state parks, because Oklahoma does have a lot of great state parks, is the WMAs are a little less known, and the state parks, when they're crowded and you can't get in there, and there's just so many people that it makes it unenjoyable, because I personally like to be out away from everyone. That's why I overland, that's why I Jeep, get off-road, is to get where other people can't go. But when the state parks are full, the WMAs are a fantastic option, and they're also a great place if you are overlanding across the state to plan for stops as you move across the state for overlanding. They're great areas. Most of the time they're abandoned. The state does a great job of keeping them up. The Wildlife Management Department in Oklahoma, they maintain them. Some of them have restrooms and good camping spots with electricity. Others have nothing, just primitive camping. They're all beautiful. So I'm really excited about getting out here and checking out Sandy Sanders. It'll be the first time I've been out there. And let's see what we get. Anytime you're heading down I-40 in western Oklahoma, it's always fun to stop and check out the Cherokee Trading Post.
You can find leather-made goods, our Native American clothing, Native American art, and artifacts, blankets, pottery, knives, travel souvenirs, you name it. You can take a piece of Native American tradition home with you.
A lot of cool stuff in there.
After visiting the Cherokee Trading Post, I noticed on the map that Route 66 traveled near where we were at. Couldn't resist taking a little trip down the old Route 66 just for old time's sake. My short trip down old Route 66 brought me to the Bridgeport Bridge, the longest bridge of its type in the nation, right there in Hinton, Oklahoma. Couldn't be that close and not swing by to check it out. On the northern end of the bridge, I found these gold plaques that give a lot of information about the construction and the time period the bridge was built. After checking out the roadside information, it was time to jump back in the Jeep, take a quick pic, and head across this historic landmark. As you begin to cross the bridge, it seems to go on forever in front of you off into the distance. It was a really cool experience. As I neared the end of the bridge, I noticed a little pull-off that allowed access to the South Canadian River next to the bridge. It looked a little jeepy, and I got that familiar itch to get off the road.
So here we are, Route 66, the Bridgeport Bridge. And this thing is long. This is the first time I've ever seen it. It starts way back over there and then continues across the South Canadian River all the way out there. Pretty long bridge. Looks like it's about a mile or so. I'll get the definite measurements for you and add it to the video. Pretty cool little spot they had where you can actually pull off just outside the bridge there at the end of the bridge and come down here in this little sandy area on the South Canadian River. Neat spot for a quick break, some lunch, and to get some good photos.
After I left the Bridgeport Bridge, it was another 2-hour drive west on I-40 to Eric, Oklahoma. When I got to Eric, Oklahoma, that's where I made my southward turn and started heading the next 15 miles to the Sandy Sanders entry. The topography of this area was notably different than what I was used to in eastern Oklahoma. I was super excited about the southwestern rocky terrain, the short trees, and the open views. Really started getting excited about what I was going to find at Sandy Sanders and ready to get on the trails. A few short miles on the dirt road, and there it was. Across the cattle guard, and now I'm on Sandy Sanders. It's time to go for an adventure.
So here's a look at Sandy Sanders. You can see over my shoulder, a lot of canyons, canyon walls. It's absolutely beautiful in that southwestern deserty type of demographic. It has a totally different beauty than like your forests and those types of things. It's very arid and dry, but amazing. Really enjoying this WMA. More to come. Camping at the WMA is only permitted in designated areas.
These areas are primitive, and there's only a handful of them across the WMA. They're first come, first served, so make sure you get in there. They're in a variety of sizes, some that would accommodate several Jeeps or off-road vehicles, and others that were only big enough for one camp. Some of the sites are up on ridges and some of them are in bottoms, but there's a cool place to stay for anyone with any taste. Found a good spot up on a ridge. Got the camp all set up on the Jeep. Got the fire pit set up. A chair. And here comes the sunset. Night one was a great camp. Really enjoyed this spot up here on the hill. There's no wind last night. Stars were out, just incredibly bright. You could see so many stars. And so yeah, we had a quick breakfast and packed up everything, ready to get started on day two. Come across a geological event that happens frequently in this part of Oklahoma and western Oklahoma, and that's with the gypsum and the feldspar. A lot of times what you'll get, and you may see right over my shoulder there, that's the trail, the path that we used to be, and now they've made a bypass around this. But what this stuff does is it creates a void underneath it. Once that gypsum, it'll form and let water wash underneath it, and it'll solidify just enough to let the water wash out what's under it, and it'll form an arch. And it's kind of misguiding because it looks like it might be sturdy, but if you can see behind me there, and I'll get a closer shot of it here in a minute, if you drive across that, it's going to collapse. And there's been tractors and agricultural equipment and Jeeps and cars and trucks, several instances of people in Oklahoma that have driven out on this these little fields of this gypsum. As you can see behind me, it's kind of a white color. They'll drive out on it and then fall in after something collapses. So let me get you a little bit of a closer look here. As you can see, the trail used to go right through here, and this whole shelf collapsed in because there was a void underneath it. And you can see, for reference, there's a buddy of mine down there checking out how far underneath that actually goes, and it's several feet. It actually goes all the way back into here, so that's all a void underneath there. And if you were to drive across there, that's a good chance that it'll just collapse with you. And you can see where this is collapsed all around this edge here, all the way around. This used to all be flat, and there was a void underneath it, and then it just caved in at one time. So there you go, something you might need to know about wheeling in western Oklahoma. Watch out for the gypsum fields.
been a great weekend. We've had an awesome trip. Sandy Sanders was definitely worth coming out and checking out. I think I mentioned this was my first time coming out to the wildlife management area, Sandy Sanders, and it's been worth every minute of the drive on I-40 to get out here. It's definitely a place I'll come back to. I'm a member of a Jeep club, and I'm definitely going to recommend to the Jeep club that we come out here for a weekend. The trails they're fun. It's not anything very technical. Bumpy. Makes you feel like you've been doing some Jeep stuff without having to do any of the rock climbing or real technical stuff that you might find in the Ozarks or Utah or somewhere else. And pinstriping hasn't been an issue at all. Haven't had any issues with pinstriping or branches sticking out over the road. There's a lot of hawthorn bushes out here and a ton of cactus. The cactus is everywhere, so definitely want to stay on the trails. And when you're hiking or doing some photo shooting or kind of scouting out a campsite, you want to be mindful of the cactus and the hawthorn. I don't know what it is about this part of Oklahoma, but it's like all the plants are vicious. So I'm driving into the sunset here, or sunrise. So the light may be crazy here, but Sandy Sanders is situated right on the Oklahoma-Texas state line in western Oklahoma. And so we're not far from Maris. If you've ever been to Maris or you know about Maris, we're really not that far from Maris. So if you're familiar with the terrain at Maris, then you'll be somewhat familiar with what it is here at Sandy Sanders. A lot of canyons out here, and that is just absolutely beautiful. I love the scenery of the canyons. There's super high canyon walls, like these cliff faces and stuff, and it's just a beautiful area. It's got its own type of beauty, you know. I think every area does. Even the deserts have a beauty to them. I love mountains. I love forested areas, and I love this arid southwestern prairie stuff too. It's just gorgeous, and this is a great place to come to experience that type of beauty and landscape and get the Jeep off the road without having to do anything too technical. I don't think I would come out here if it was really wet, because it is a lot of this Oklahoma red dirt clay stuff, and I can see this stuff being like cement if it's really, really muddy. So maybe not a good time to come out in Oklahoma springtime, like April, March, when it's usually flooding and really wet. And I would say definitely not a place to come in the hottest parts of the summer. So July, August, maybe September, maybe even June. Too hot. I don't know what it is about southwestern Oklahoma, but it's always like 10 degrees hotter than everywhere else in Oklahoma. So you'd be looking at temperatures over 100 degrees easily in the heat of the summer. I would say probably close to 110 around here, and that's just really uncomfortable when you're camping and you're out in it. So definitely a spring destination, or kind of like now for me, late December, early January, a winter destination, as long as it's not too wet or icy. It'd be a great place to come out and spend a weekend. We have some beautiful sunsets out here, some great sunrises, the scenery, lots of wildlife. We've seen coyotes, we've seen deer, we've seen elk, and I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff out here that we didn't get to see. But all in all, man, big thumbs up for Sandy Sanders. And it's a lot bigger than I thought it was too. Looking at the maps and watching some other videos of people coming out and checking out Sandy Sanders, I didn't think it was that big, but it is huge. You can definitely spend a weekend out here and not go down the same trail twice if you don't want to. So anyway, that's the news on Sandy Sanders. We've got about maybe another hour of some trail time we're going to do, and then we will be back on the pavement and headed home. Hey folks, we're back home and got the Jeep unpacked from the trip. Do a little vacuuming and cleaning out, but I thought I'd shoot the last video for this or last segment for this trip, and just say that was my, like I said, that was my first trip out there to Sandy Sanders, and what a fantastic trip it was. I highly recommend that area, and again, that's in the southwest area of Oklahoma, just almost to the Texas state line. I'd say about 20 minutes south of I-40 out there. And it's worth the trip. It's secluded, so it's not real crowded out there, and really enjoyed the trails. We spent the whole weekend out there driving around, and I don't think that we saw maybe half of it. So you're not going to run out of trails out there, and like there's tons of wildlife. The fishing's awesome. I actually got an opportunity to do a little fishing. I'm sorry I didn't record that. Take your pole out there for sure if you're a fisherman. I think they regularly stock those water holes out there. So I've heard there's great fish out there. I didn't catch anything this time, but as they say, a bad day's fishing is better than a good day at work. So yeah, what a great trip. If you haven't realized it yet, this was my very first video. And I'm going to do some DIY videos pretty soon for some storage optimization in the Jeep. This JK, when you take the family, gets awful small real fast. So I'm gonna look at some ways to improve my storage capacity, figure out ways to get things stored in these little nooks and crannies around the roll bars and all those sorts of things, so that I can take all those comfort items that my family likes to take with us when we go camping. When I do these solo trips, man, it's pretty minimal. I don't take a whole lot. I throw the rooftop tent on, and just like I said, super minimal stuff. I've got a refrigerator that I put back here. That'll all be in my Pinterest shop. All the gear that I use is in my Pinterest shop. So if you're ever curious about what I'm using, it's in there. And if it's in there, that means that I've actually used it and it's good stuff. I won't put junk in there. So, but anyhow, I digress. If you ever get the opportunity to head out there to Sandy Sanders, I definitely put it on your list of places to go. A really cool thing out there is if you have a young rider with you, maybe just 16, 17 years old, that's, enjoys the Jeep stuff or off-roading and the, overlanding stuff, not necessarily just a Jeep, but that's a great place to break them in, man, because as I've said throughout the video, there's really not a lot of super technical things out there, and the trails are fun. They're really cool. I mean, you're going on these curves and you come up on top of these ridges, and there's this view that opens up beneath you. And I could have filmed hours and hours of footage of just all these cool views out there, but they just kind of come up out of nowhere. And it's a really cool place to take somebody that's new to the Jeep scene, new to the overlanding, off-roading scene, and get their feet wet out there, figuratively speaking. Again, I wouldn't go out there if it was real muddy or wet, because it will be very muddy. Most of those trails are dirt, and it's that Oklahoma, clay-based stuff that turns into wet cement when it gets wet. So I can definitely see it being a challenge. Now, if you love the mud, man, all the power to you. But gosh, I hate for you to tear up the trails with the ruts. So not a great place to go when it's rainy or rainy season. Probably wouldn't be comfortable in the heat of the summer for Oklahoma. If you're familiar with the Oklahoma weather and how hot it gets here in the summertime, man, it gets blazing. So that's when the Jeep club that I belong to and myself, we usually start looking for those trips up into the higher elements or higher climbs, getting up into Red River, New Mexico, and even further north, and trying to escape the Oklahoma heat in the summertime. So we'll have some of those videos to come. I'm going to do some of those DIY stuff. I got some stuff ordered when it gets here. I'll be installing it. I'll do some videos on that. And of course, we'll be doing a lot of more trip videos where we're chasing sunsets. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do, is get out there and see all these different sunsets. And man, Oklahoma, it's hard to beat when it comes to great, fantastic sunsets. I didn't realize there were so many people doing this
or these types of videos until I started getting on YouTube and looking for places to go around Oklahoma specifically, just, for just day trips and stuff. And man, there are overlanders everywhere. There's the Jeep crowd, the Overlander crowd, the camping crowd. And, I thought I had kind of a niche, but when I got to looking, there's a lot of folks out there. So I'm really honored that you stopped by my channel and that you stuck through this first time video with me. It's probably pretty rough. I'm definitely looking at the way some of these other guys do it, and I want to, like I said, up my video game. So thanks for watching, and if you've been here this long, gosh, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. That's the end of this video. Thanks for sticking by, and like I said, please like and subscribe and keep chasing those sunsets.